What's interesting about that muscle is it contracts during fight or flight to literally help you fight or flee the situation, but then it stays contracted until you manually release it. And that's how the trauma gets stored in the body, is this muscular contraction. And then over time, as you continue to experience stress, or if you haven't processed your trauma, you'll have a bunch of emotional reactions and cognitive difficulties.
Liz, sister, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jessica.
I was saying I followed your work, followed your incredible content, courses, was such a fan. And then we met in Lori's house in California a few months ago. And I was not surprised actually to meet this workout witch in person who's so embodied, who's so in her heart, who's grounding just to be with. And I really want to peel behind the layers today, because the woman that I met, the woman that is so celebrated and wherever she shows up, has worked really hard to become her.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a lot about your book today. I'm so excited for you. But before we go forward, I would love to go back because your life for a long time did not look what it looks like today. So can we go back to, you were living in New York and in a very different type of life, very different relationship, coming from an upbringing rooted in a lot of trauma. Can we start there wherever that it feels comfortable to create a through line to today?
Absolutely. I was in New York in my early 30s. I had moved there from California and newly married. And prior to getting married, my relationship was beautiful. He seemed like my dream partner. And then right after we got married, something switched. It was like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. And the marriage itself was just awful. And the abuse crept in insidiously and incrementally. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I found myself about a year into the marriage in New York, having panic attacks every day, fainting pretty regularly. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "You're fine. Just make sure you're drinking water." And I already had a somatic training and background at that time. And for some reason, I still was having a really hard time believing what was going on for me, because the relationship prior to the marriage was so beautiful and lovely. And I had a really hard time wrapping my head around that. But also, I have this background with my family, with a lot of men in my family, especially my extended family, having rage issues. And I have a background with SA, sexual assault. And so I think being around a man that was so angry in my marriage was very normalized for me from my childhood. And I kept thinking I can make this better. Oh, this can get better. Until one day I realized it can't, and I just have to leave.
Wow. And he was, from what I've read, financially abusive.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And so he controlled a lot of the finances. You didn't have any agency and sovereignty. So how did you leave? What was that process like?
I started taking baths every day, and that is where I created my exit plan. In the bath.
I love it.
I had this little bath tray that I had purchased, and I had my phone. And I was creating an exit plan because he was also tracking he had a remote access device installed in my computer. So he was tracking all of my tech as well. And I started saving getting $20 cash back at the grocery store. And I opened up a separate account. And I was just kind of squirreling away money as often as I could. And the day I left, I didn't have as much money as I wanted to in that account. But he got quite violent that day in the house. And it was at a point where I was I feel like something bad is going to happen to me if I don't leave today. So he left, and then I left that day, and I didn't have my exit plan wasn't complete, but I still left.
But you made it happen.
Yeah.
And did you go straight to California, or did you just flew across the country?
I didn't. So I actually kicked him out of the house and was able to change the locks because I already had done a police report on him for violence, and then I had filed a restraining order, and the judge granted it, and I lived in an apartment building, so they changed the locks once I got the restraining order, and I luckily already had all of that in place by that day. So when I left that day, I slept in my car for a couple nights, and I was getting all of the locks changed and getting everything situated. When I went back to my apartment, though, I just really didn't feel safe. And he vandalized my car in the garage, and I was just I have to get out of here. I can't physically be here anymore. But what was so hard for me was I had reached out to my parents, and they weren't as supportive as I thought, as I was hoping. And my brother was on this camping trip, and he had no cell service that weekend. So it was very hard for me in those initial moments, but I did end up going down, staying with my parents. And then I realized that I was kind of just in the same pattern that they were in. So eventually I stayed, a couple weeks later, I shifted to my aunt and uncle's house.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really believe that you've heard that term, our mess becomes our message, and thank you for sharing all of that. I mean, I see you share it so beautifully in your social media, and I'm knowing your book. It's such a gift to be honest and vulnerable to anyone who's ever been in that position before. I've been in that position before, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To show the possibilities of what's come out on the other side, and to see you today and what you have created that is so clearly of service and is now a massive brand in the market came from a mess.
Yeah.
It
really came from a mess.
Yeah. And I give you major props for how you alchemize that.
Thank you.
To be of such service to so many people. So I want to talk about the book, but the book is really an artifact, a birthing of what you've created with The Workout Witch and this beautiful message you have on somatics and nervous system healing. So if you can talk to me through the impetus of the brand and the business and how that began, just entrepreneur to entrepreneur, I'd love to know how that whole thing started.
Yeah. I had been teaching Pilates and somatics for 15 years. And during COVID, I wasn't able to teach anymore. I always taught one-on-one lessons. I also taught group classes. And when I couldn't teach anymore, I started to get really sad. And this was at the same time when I realized I had to leave my marriage. And I got so sad that I couldn't really get out of bed. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to record myself doing one somatic exercise a day from bed or on the floor, wherever I have enough energy to do it. And I'm going to post it to TikTok. I had 0 followers on TikTok. I was like, no one will see this. This is going to be my visual diary for myself to kind of track my own progress. And I started posting to TikTok, and it blew up. I had 10,000 followers in 3 weeks, which was very good for my confidence and my self-esteem in that phase because I was still in the marriage, actually. But then I posted for a year before I started selling courses or doing anything online in terms of making money online. I built a community first, and I loved it. I didn't realize, I thought it was going to be very niche at first, and then I didn't realize so many people can't have phases where they can't get out of bed, or so many people feel constantly overwhelmed or anxious all the time. And I realized how many people I could help with the exercises. So that's when I started when the gyms opened, I went back to teaching one-on-one. And then during that time, I started creating courses and put them out a year after I started posting.
I love that so much for so many people who are listening, who I just think it's so easy to see like these big online businesses and aspire to have that and feel like you have to engineer it in a specific way, or like there's certain steps you need to take. And I always love hearing stories like yours where it's just so rooted in being yourself, doing something that makes you happy. I love social media because it connects me to people, and I know that I'm helping people. And then you build an authentic community that is then wanting more, and you organically built it from there. And now look at you.
Yeah. Yeah. I never imagined this. Really? For me? No, never. I mean, I definitely had fantasies about being like a luxurious, wealthy lady.
Who doesn't?
As a child, like from age 5, I would always pick the fanciest items at the store or want to order the most expensive thing on the menu. And my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a Taurus."
Amazing.
I never imagined myself kind of achieving that through being an entrepreneur at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you never expected your audience to get as massive as it has?
No, not at all. I'm still like kind of in like a pinch me phase with it.
I don't think we should ever leave that phase, by the way. Like whenever we surpass that, that's when someone needs to like kind of help us keep our feet on the ground. I think that's an actual beautiful place to remain.
Yeah.
To just never lose the plot and the gratitude of like what a gift it is to get to run a business, call it your name or call it what you want, and like serve people from all over the world.
Yeah.
And build a beautiful life around that.
Yeah.
Like we should never not pinch ourselves from that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. I say this all the time. It's like the most exciting time to be alive right now.
Yeah.
It's a wild time to be alive, but it's an amazing time to be alive.
Yeah. Your ability to put yourself out there and create something on your own is unprecedented right now.
Unprecedented. Yeah. So you've built this amazing brand, and not only the community, but you've really established yourself as a leading voice in the world of somatics. And the word somatic, I just want to crack down into this word because it's used a lot.
Yeah.
The nervous system has become trendy. Like everyone is talking about this new way of healing. And I don't think that everyone fully understands what that really looks like, what that means, where it comes from. And so let's just start with the word somatic healing. And if you can just define, in your experience and embodiment work, what people really need to know about that word and how they can work with it.
Yeah. Soma is the Greek word for body. Somatic healing is literally healing your body. I teach somatic exercises, which are these tiny micro movements that you can do in bed or on the floor that release tension and stress and trauma out of your body. And then they also regulate your nervous system.
So trauma is stored in the body. Actually, I got into your work through your hip course. And we it's also become like a joke, like a trend, like trauma is stored in your hips. It's not a joke, it's real.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go back, and if you can define, when we have a traumatic event, it goes into our system, it stays there, it gets stuck there. From a biological perspective, can you explain why that is?
Absolutely. The reason why it tends to get stored in your hips is because you have a muscle called the psoas muscle, which is your muscular first responder when you experience fight or flight. It's a really large, deep muscle that connects your upper body to your lower body. It starts behind your rib cage, wraps around the front, and then it connects to your lower trochanter, which is at the bottom of your pelvis. And what's interesting about that muscle is it contracts during fight or flight to literally help you fight or flee the situation. But then it stays contracted until you manually release it. So a lot of people, and that's how the trauma gets stored in the body, is this muscular contraction. And then over time, as you continue to experience stress, or if you haven't processed your trauma, you'll have a bunch of emotional reactions and cognitive difficulties. And that starts to translate and have like this domino effect on your physical, mental, and emotional health. and you start to experience like a baseline of more cortisol in the body as well. So a lot of people will try to release their psoas muscle by going to a massage therapist, which is very painful. And we have these natural ways that we can release it without being in a ton of pain that are much more gentle. And that's what I teach in the hips course is first we release other muscle tension, and then we go into the psoas around like day 18, day 20, so that we're kind of incrementally leading up to that release.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really appreciate about your work. I mean, you're called the workout witch, right?
Yeah.
So I like heard about you in the peripheral ether, and I was like, oh, workouts. Like she's gonna be a fitness babe. And everything that you teach is all around gentleness and ease. Like it's not about burning calories and getting fit.
Yeah.
It's about using the body as a vehicle to heal from the inside out and to come into right relationship with your body and to understand the magic of it, you know, not how it needs to look. And I think that's a reason why our work intertwines so much in the sense that women have been, I don't want to speak too generally, but have been conditioned that it has to be hard.
Yes.
If we want to look good, feel good, make money, succeed, grow in any capacity, that there has to be some sort of struggle behind it. And your work is, and I think it's why it's really struck a chord, is so counterculture to that. And so when it comes to this collective belief, women especially, that we have to like kill ourselves.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from?
There were a lot of fitness movements in the 50s and 60s that were just about like being really slim and tiny. Yeah. And Jane Fonda was 80s. Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, historically, like a woman's body back in like Victorian times, you could be round and curvy, and that was like the most beautiful thing. And then in the USA, the 1950s was like the time when it really fitness started to get very commoditized for women. And there were like, you know, studios that you would go and like measure your waist, and it got very focused on diminishing yourself and being tiny, and like discipline and hard work as like visible in the body as how small you are. But it's just like so unhealthy. And I think, you know, then the 80s and the early 90s was like the no pain, no gain philosophy in fitness with the body. And I grew up as a ballet dancer. And when I was in my early 20s and when I was really heavy doing ballet, I was working my body really hard, like so hard. And I had so much gray hair. Yeah. Yeah. Like I looked my worst. I was tiny, but I looked my worst. And I had like really bad bags under my eyes. And I was working so hard, but I didn't look or feel very good. And somatics is really what helped me unlearn all of that. I actually cried in the bathroom after my first class because my body had never felt so good. It was like warm and tingling afterwards. And I was like, what is this? Like I had never experienced anything like that.
You know what's coming to me as you're sharing that, Liz? It's like from a physical perspective, like the 50s, the 60s, the 80s, no pain, no gain. Then there was like the 90s heroin chic with Kate Moss. Like from a external outer perspective, the standards for women have always been to shrink, to it's unrealistic to be hard on ourselves in like in a near abusive way.
Yes.
But then with the rise of like the feminist movement from an internal perspective, from an ambition perspective, we've been asked to operate like men.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
totally.
It's been coming at us from all of these different angles, like look a certain way, be a certain way, work a certain way, act a certain way. And I think that's why this conversation around the nervous system and somatics and burnout is become so prevalent and visible because we're at an inflection point where we're all kind of waking up and we're saying like, no, actually there's a gentler, more loving, easeful, feminine way to do this thing called life. And I know that my audience is going to love your book. And The Body Speaks. It's right here. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
You talk about some real stories in the book. You brought in some other women besides you that have gone through this work. And if there's a story of a woman that you can plug out from the book that could be an opening for the woman listening, like what's possible, like where she began and where she is now by working with somatics. Could you share one of those stories from the book?
Absolutely. The first one that comes to mind is a woman named Joanna, who was on her honeymoon and experienced an earthquake. And it was a really bad earthquake. And her and her husband thought that they were going to be celebrating and, having this beautiful trip. And they were like literally caught in rubble from the earthquake. And it was very scary. She developed PTSD. And she already had some other health conditions like endometriosis. But after that incident, the flare-ups got much worse. Her health got much worse. And when you have PTSD, you're like very hypervigilant. It's very hard to function normally. PTSD becomes almost like the driver of your life. Those symptoms become the driver of your life. And you can't really function the way you used to until you heal from PTSD, which is absolutely possible. And her and I really connected because she had a lot of the health condition flare-ups, which I experienced after I went through trauma as well, where I'm like, okay, wow, now my thyroid is out of balance and now I don't sleep. And then after years of that, it was like, okay, now I have chronic pain. And somatics really helped her reduce the symptoms of her chronic health conditions. So she no longer has the same level of pelvic pain from her endometriosis now. And if she ever does, she has these exercises that she can lean on to immediately reduce the pain. And they also really helped in terms of the nervous system. What it is it's like a communication highway between your brain and your body. And when we say it's dysregulated, it's just a fancy way of saying that we're in fight, flight, or freeze physiologically. And when you experience that, you also get all of these like physical symptoms that flare up and you start to have brain fog and you start to either get really irritable or you kind of emotionally feel numb, one of the two. And so what the exercises do is they bring you back to your baseline. So when you're doing the exercises, you're practicing homeostasis and you're remembering what that feels like. And the more you practice that, the more new neural pathways you create, which are just like new patterns. And it's like lifting weights. Like the more you do it, the stronger those neural pathways become. And then your homeostasis starts to become your baseline instead of PTSD reactions or instead of chronic pain symptoms.
Wow. I mean, the world of somatics within PTSD is like groundbreaking. Yeah. And it's just, I'm tracking so many moments in my life and the people that I know, like whether it's something as extreme as an earthquake on your honeymoon or going through a breakup or for me, it was going broke at like 33. Like I had to map it by the time I was 40 and I was so burnt out and diagnosed with depression, I couldn't leave my bed. It was all tied to the trauma I had from true scarcity. And I never really felt like I was in abundance, even though I was making tons of money at the time. I was always running away from scarcity. And it wasn't until I connected that dot that I was really able to heal. Mm-hmm. I think we experience micro traumas on a daily basis.
I do too.
Right?
I do too.
Like the amount of hits that our nervous system gets, where we don't feel resilient. And so is there practices or tools, because I think every single person needs to read your book and every single person needs this work. And we've all experienced trauma with a capital T. Yeah. But for the everyday woman that's listening who just has this like low hum of anxiety, where does she start?
Should we do an exercise
Let's
together?
do an exercise.
Okay, we can stay seated. We'll just uncross our legs. And then we'll take our right hand and you're going to place it in between your eyebrows. Okay. You want to use medium to firm pressure and you're going to swipe up and then remove your finger. And we're just going to repeat that action several times.
Wow. I already feel a shift.
Yeah. And as we're doing this, if your arm gets tired at any point, feel free to just pause, rest your arm, and then resume. And we'll keep this going for about a minute. You can see how soft in the hand on your leg. Yeah. How relaxed can your belly be? How unclenched can your jaw be?
Wow.
Yeah. Let's do a couple more. Great. And whenever you're ready, we'll bring that to a pause.
It's good.
Yeah.
So good.
And that's a quick 1-minute exercise. So that activates one of your cranial nerves that connects to your brainstem. And your brainstem is largely responsible for your fight and flight response. So that 1-minute exercise just kind of immediately relaxes the fight flight response.
That's when you were like, I immediately started doing it, right? And I felt like an instant sensation.
Yeah.
But then you were watching me, I think, because my eyes were closed. You're like, relax your jaw. Oh shit, my jaw is tight. Yep. My hand is not like the micro tension in your body is constant.
Yes.
So does somebody need to do, like, what is the daily regimen, if you will?
Yeah.
Part of me wants to ask what you do, but I feel like you live, well, maybe it's simpler than I think, but how does somebody really make this a part of their lifestyle?
Yeah. Like 5 to 10 minutes a day.
5-10 minutes a day.
Yeah. In bed. I do them right when I wake up or right before I go to bed, depending on what my day looks like.
That's amazing.
But that's it. Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Do you incorporate any other types of movement during the day? Like, do you still do Pilates and like move your body in that way?
Yeah. I love movement.
Yeah.
Like it's always been my thing since I was a child. I was a dancer. My mom was a jazzercise teacher.
Wow.
Yeah. So I love Pilates still. I do Pilates for strength training like 3 times a week. I take my dog on a walk every day and I love walking. And what's interesting with walking too is if you go for longer than 30 minutes, you get bilateral stimulation, which is the same thing the same kind of process that happens in EMDR therapy. Me too.
Yeah.
And so it's great for emotional processing and stress release. So that's another thing. If, you can do this 1-minute exercise, you can take a walk. Those are 2 really easy, accessible things that you can do anytime.
Yes.
And then I like to play pickleball too.
It's having a moment. It's all the rage. I haven't gotten into it. I'm not very athletic. Yeah. So I have a little bit of intimidation around it, but I know like anyone can do it.
Yeah. It's like tennis light.
Yes.
Yeah. I've never played a sport really before. So I was also quite intimidated. I have a dance background. I was worried that I'd have horrible hand-eye coordination. And it's so fun.
That's my word for the year.
Yeah.
Fun is the highest frequency.
It's so nice. And abundance comes to you.
That's
so
right,
much
babe.
faster when you're having fun.
This is what I preach every day on this fucking podcast. Like the gateway to magnetism, alignment, manifestation, money is having fun, experiencing joy. It's the total unlock. It's like I read in a book years ago, it changed my life. It said joy is the lubricant for abundance.
I love that.
Right? Like our job is to have fun on this planet.
Yeah.
Like we totally miss the plot.
Yeah. We get so serious.
We do. We get so fucking serious. We think it has to be so hard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And the truth is like, this is why I love the work that you do. And I really hope I stand in my work. And I know that everyone listening is here because they've been following my journey. But, it's fucked up to be here on this planet. Mm-hmm. This human life is precious and wild at the same time. And we come from traumatic experiences. Like was said earlier, there's not a person on the planet that hasn't experienced trauma. Mm-hmm. I think we're of a generation, you and me, that have access to tools that our parents didn't have.
Totally.
And their parents certainly didn't have.
Yes.
And they're, you know what I mean? It's been inherited. But now we live in this time of like choice and options and education and platforms like yours and platforms like mine that people can learn a new way. And I think it's all to come back into homeostasis at the, bare minimum.
Yes.
And then joy grows from there.
Yeah.
And when we unlock that, so much possibility happens.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You fell in love with sharing those TikTok videos.
I did.
Right? There was
I
joy
had
in
so
that.
much fun.
Right?
I loved making them every day.
Right.
It was this bright spot. Even at the very beginning, it was
in some of your darkest times.
Yep. In some of my darkest times, it was so funny. I was teaching these relaxation videos and I was like putting Meg the Stallion on them and I was just in bed like, yes,
exactly.
And it was so fun.
Yes.
And now I feel like a big part of my business too is like helping women reclaim their power. And I love to listen to like boss bitch music.
Yes.
So especially when you're working out, it's so fun.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
This book, I'm so excited for you. Like we were talking earlier before we started recording, like launching a book is a lot.
Yeah.
But it is actually, I think, such a joyful experience because you work so hard on it. It becomes your baby. You get to launch it into the world. You get to touch so many new people. A book changes lives.
Yes.
Like I still get messages years later from people like, your books changed my life. It's like no better feeling. When someone reads this book, like woman, all the way through, she makes it to the end. What is the one thing that you want her to know or remember?
You're not broken. If you feel stuck or if you're having physical flare-ups or you have anxiety or depression, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. And you also don't have to stay there if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That is a legacy leaving message.
Thank you.
I really think we heal the world by healing ourselves.
Yes, 1,000%.
That's how we heal the planet right now. And it starts from the inside out. And I really believe that the body is the way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been very, it's often the missing link for people because we think, okay, go to therapy. And I love therapy. Big fan. Love EMDR. Big fan. But for me, movement and somatic healing was a big missing link, and it has been for my students as well.
Yeah. I do think that that's an important point because therapy, EMDR, talk therapy, it gets you far and it's a necessary tool. But it wasn't until I realized, and I know that so many women feel the same, and certain women are new to it, which is why they're going to read your book. The mind-body connection isn't in traditional talk therapy for a lot of therapists, and it typically isn't wholly, fully possible to heal your life unless you incorporate the body.
Yeah.
It all lives in the body.
Yeah. It's especially for like feminine centered women. It's
correct.
Like so important.
Well, we're all such empaths.
Yeah.
And we're all so sensitive. And going back to what we were talking about when it came to how we've come up over these last few decades, it wasn't normal or common or celebrated to talk about what we were going through. And so we internalized it. We stuffed it down. Yeah. And these things that happened to us from our childhood to our couple of years ago on a honeymoon are like still with us. And I think the gift is the work, but I also think it's an opportunity to name something, right? That we couldn't maybe name before we brought awareness to it. Like this is such a random story, but it's not. I'm going to talk about my husband for a second. So we went through a horrible ice storm in Nashville 2 months ago. Unprecedented, categorical, hadn't happened in 35 years, ice storm where the whole city's power went out. Like the trees got thick inches of ice, tore down power lines. Like we were without power for 7 days. We're up in the hills, like in the woods on a private road. Anyway, I was gone. I was on a retreat in Sedona the whole time. So he was by himself.
Oh my gosh.
With our 2 dogs. And was stuck in the house for 48 hours with no power. And our animals. Anyway, long story short, it's behind us now.
Yeah, that's scary.
It was traumatic.
Yeah.
And he was like miserable for like a month and a half after. He was in the worst mood. He was so like snappy, irritable, high stress. And we had a big fight about it because I was like, honey, I love you, but like, I can't breathe around you. Like, this is not okay. And I kind of projected that it had something to do from like the house build, like months ago, like whatever it was from last year. And I was so proud of him because he got clear. He's like, Jess, it was the storm. I haven't been the same since.
It changes you.
It changes you.
It changes you. And you have these reactions that you can't control. Really.
Because you have nowhere, it goes into your system.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of running the whole show.
Yep.
Which is why I do it. I mean, that exercise you just did with me, the simplest things, to go on your website, to go on your Instagram. And now there's this beautiful book where we can just access all of these tools that take 5 to 10 minutes a day to clear those micro and macro traumas.
Yeah.
If everyone did this, I mean, what world do you see, Liz?
Oh my gosh. That's my dream. And not from a perspective of like wealth hoarding at all. It's really that, I did yoga for like 10 years. And one of my most controversial opinions is that like yoga isn't the best for trauma healing to start with. And I'm not anti-yoga at all. It's just like, if you're healing from stress and trauma, it's just not the best place to start. And so my dream is that people understand like what modality to do when, and that somatics becomes as popular as yoga. That's my dream.
I think you're making that dream a reality, babe.
Yeah, thank you.
I really do.
Thank you.
There's a reason that you've hit so hard.
Yeah.
You've given language to it.
Yes.
Right? New language to it, but it's becoming more truly mainstream. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with my friends who are on the path of personal growth, spirituality, doing the healing work, and everything's about the body.
Yeah.
Like it has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we had this phase of like mindset and meditation, and all of that is great. So I'm not saying to not do those things, but then I think now the body, people are like, oh yeah, I have a body. And my emotions live there and my thoughts live there and as well.
This actually reminds me, because I told you about my burnout story, and I worked with a spiritual coach, who was very, very in tune with the nervous system. And that term, the nervous system, this was introduced to me at 40. I'm 44. So 4 years ago, most of my life, I had no connection, no understanding. And I remember her asking me, do you think you're in your body? And I had no idea what that meant. So I just want to pose that question to you. Like, I can hear the woman listening right now, like, am I in my body?
Yeah.
How do I know?
Yeah.
How does one know?
So when I say things like, can you feel your feet on the floor? Or can you feel your hips sinking heavier into the chair? Your brain immediately tells your body to do that, and you can just feel it and you can connect to it right away, which is so cool. Your brain to body connection is really strong, and the body heals really quickly, which is also really fun. But most people, I guess I could say that you aren't really in your body. I'll give you a couple examples. If you're like working and you decide to push past hunger or to hold your pee because you're just like, I just got to get this like thing done, right? So your body is giving you really clear signals. I'm hungry. I need to go to the bathroom. And you're mentally overriding that. If you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning, even after you've slept well, it's probably a sign you're not in your body. If you come home after work or just after finishing all your tasks for the day and you sit on the couch for 4 hours and you just like crash out consistently, like several times a week, I'm so down for that. Once a week.
Yeah, totally. That's healing.
Once a week, twice a week, sure, But like if you do that consistently, more than 3 times a week, you're probably disconnected from your body. If you can't cry or have a hard time expressing emotion, you're probably not in your body. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that people disconnect from their spirituality after they go through stress or trauma?
That's a really good question. I think the reason why people turn off in the first place is because they're disconnected from their spiritual self. I think it's because we get too dense, not in the body, but in this dimension. That the third dimension, which is really rooted in polarity, like dualistic, good, bad, love, fear. And we, because of the way this world is constructed and everything that we're perceiving and taking in, plus our trauma and conditioning, we have a tendency to lean into fear and forget the truth of limitless possibilities, like the real dimension. And so that's how I interpret it. It's like we get stuck there because we forget that we are whole, that we are safe, that we are love, that we are one. And so then that's how I define a spiritual connection, is that knowing. And when we lose that, that's when we suffer the most. Yeah. And it's hard, I think, to get back to vitality, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, without remembering that as part of that process.
I love that.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, when I was going through my hardest times, I felt very disconnected from my spirituality. Like it just wasn't there anymore.
It was all dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, we have to often go through the dark to find the light.
Yeah.
And I think that there's always gold in that, to bring it full circle to the beginning of our conversation. Like, thank you for sharing some of the darkest parts of your life, because it's important to your medicine. Yeah. You found your light there, right? Like you didn't know that at the time. Yes. It didn't feel like that at the time.
No, definitely not.
Right? Like it's hell.
Yeah.
But when you commit to the journey, to like take the risk to take care of yourself, to choose your own path, there's always an other side to it. And if you really embrace the lessons, look how much good you can do with it.
Yeah.
You can change the world.
Totally.
Write a book.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so passionate about weaving the spiritual divinity and light that we are into our work today. They're not mutually exclusive. We're light beings. We're human beings having we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And the more we remember that, I think the more joy we actually have, more freedom we have.
I love that.
Yeah, babe. I love
that.
you.
I love you too.
You're amazing.
Thank you. You
I
are
am
too.
So happy you came on my show. I could talk to you forever.
Me too.
We'll have to do a part 2. We'll have to hang out more. I remember meeting you at that event, and I was like, I felt such a heart to heart with you.
I did too.
Yeah. And you're very regulating to be with, by the way.
Likewise. Thank you.
Like it wasn't just this, it's just being in your presence.
Thank you.
Is so calming and so safe and activating in like the heart in the best way.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, babe. I have just a few quick fire questions for you.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, great. So
I'm like getting ready. Sitting with it.
I know. I always get nervous with the quick fires too. I'm like, because I'm not a quick fire kind of person. I'm very verbose. But we'll do our best. So this is, I would ask everybody. So do you have a favorite spiritual book besides your own book that's influenced your life?
I don't know if this is a spiritual book, but I read Glennon Doyle Untamed, and I had a very spiritual experience with that book.
Retweet. I read that book too. Like that was a spiritual experience reading that book. That book was brilliant.
Yeah.
And it broke and hit for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was starting with somatics, I read the Tao Te Ching, and that kind of like blew my mind to ease and like letting things be and not controlling everything. That was a big moment for me as well.
You know what I just got for you? Like I just saw it in my quantum dashboard. I'm going to ask somebody that question in a year or 2 from now. And I'm going to be like, what's your favorite book? And they're going to say When the Body Speaks.
Oh, I would love that.
From my lips to the goddess's ears.
Thank you.
Seriously. Do you work with any I don't know how spiritual what your practice looks like, but is there a particular goddess or archetype or deity or angel that you feel connected to?
Yeah. My teacher, Augusta, who is the ballet teacher who brought me into somatics, she like noticed I was very dissociated in ballet class and was like, come to my somatics class. I talk to her often and I just can sometimes feel her presence around me. She was almost like a second mom for me, and she mentored me for 6 years when I initially started teaching. Yeah. So I would say for me, it's really more like ancestors. Yeah, because I do that with my mom's mom, my grandma, and my mom just passed away as well. Me too. And so all of those women, I just feel like they're with me all the time.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. I am fortunately still have both of my parents. And I fortunately haven't had a lot of loss and death in my life as of now. Fortunate. Like I count my blessings all the time. I'm like, everyone I love is alive. But I did lose my animal. I lost my dog 1.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I know this isn't the question, but like I told you, verbose. That grief portal taught me so much about the other side.
Yeah.
Like dissolved dimension. And that love does come in many forms and they don't ever leave.
Yeah.
Like animals, people, like that connection, you can still have a relationship. You have in many ways a deeper relationship. It's just in a different form.
Yeah. You have to kind of change the form of it and then you can still access it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. This is a fun one. Do you believe in aliens? Yes or no?
Oh, I mean, that would be so fun.
I know, right?
That would be so fun.
They're friendly aliens, but continue. Why do you say that? Why fun?
I mean, I hope we're not the only people and the only planet that has life. Like, how fun would that be? Weirdly, my uncle is like the leading academic on Star Trek.
No way.
In the world. Yeah.
Awesome.
His name is John Tenuto.
I should get him on my podcast.
And so I've been around like a lot of sci-fi in my life. My brother's also really into sci-fi. So part of me is like slightly scared of aliens because of that. But I also think how wonderful and cool would that be? Like, I don't want us to be the only.
Well, it's scientifically impossible that we are, you know? Couple thoughts on that. So I believe like as above, so below, right? And there are benevolent beings and there are malevolent beings, just like there are in this dimension. Like that, to me, that's how I see it. So aliens aren't all things. And I actually once heard that to not refer to them as aliens, like, because that word can have a negative connotation, right? Like alien in my country, whatever. Extraterrestrials is really what they are. But all that to say, there's this scientist that I once saw speak. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name is Nassim Haramein. He's pretty prolific. He's like, reminds me of like the Greg Bradens of the world, like a really phenomenal quantum scientist. And I saw him speak years ago. And it was one of those like pivotal, you go to so many conferences and you see speakers and like they rev you up for a moment and then you never remember them. This guy changed my life. And he was talking about, and he showed all of the science behind it in his presentation, that we live in an infinite universe, We're one galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, amongst trillions and trillions of infinite galaxies. And when you look up, let's just take our Milky Way galaxy as a parcel as an example, and you stare up at the full night sky and it's completely lit up. Like imagine the whole Milky Way. You can see all the stars. There's trillions of stars. There's more planets in the universe than there are stars.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Right?
That's mind-blowing.
It's like an unlock.
Yeah.
So you're looking up at the stars, but you can't see the planets.
Wow.
But there's more planets up there than there are stars. And Earth in our one unique tiny little solar system sits in what's called the Goldilocks zone next to our star sun, which is the sun, which is a star. So from across the galaxy, if you were to look up at the sky, you would see our sun as a star. And in Goldilocks zones, it's not too hot. It's not too cold. Life can exist. So the way that this incredible scientist presented it to all of us at that time, it's like the Earth is scientifically impossible for it to be the only Goldilocks planet in the entire infinite ever expanding universe, right?
Right.
So that thus began my belief in
that's so cool.
That whole, side of science meets spirituality.
That's so cool. That's very mind expanding.
Isn't it?
I'm going to have to dive into that more.
Thank you for letting me go on my diatribe about that. I wasn't planning on that, but truly brings me peace in my darkest of days to know how small I am and like what a microcosm of time my life is. 80, 90, 100 if I'm lucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Across like an infinite timeline. Anyway, we're eternal.
Yeah. That's very expansive.
Yeah.
Those are very expansive thoughts. I like how big you think.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's how I survive. Like it's how I move through my own human experience with that connection. It brings me a lot of peace. So thanks for reflecting that. Okay, final question.
Okay, great.
This is so fun. Again,
awesome.
I could talk to you all day. The final question is, are you familiar with the term New Earth?
I am. Yeah, I read the Eckhart Tolle book. Yeah.
Great. So the way that I see the New Earth is the world I believe you are absolutely building with your work, a place of healing and safety and love and abundance and like oneness. It's like fifth dimensional consciousness, like through the heart versus the mind. So the final question is, what does it mean to you to be a co-creator of the New Earth rising right now?
I think specifically in this moment in history, we're in a time where like things are messy and it almost feels like the death of the old way. Like so much is kind of coming out and like we're becoming aware of so much corruption and so much abuse. And I think as we become aware of that, it's going to open up for so many more people that there's like this new way and that you can be more heart-centered and that the old way hasn't been working for a long time. And it's beyond time that we shift and that we change. And for me, my goal with my work is to have women take their power back so that they're not held back in their life by past stress or trauma, no matter how much they've been through. So no matter how much abuse or corruption or challenges they've experienced, that they can move forward and create a life that's more beautiful than what they could have imagined.
Spoken like a true light worker. That's right, girl. That's what you're here for.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So good. Thank you so much for coming, Liz.
Thank you for having me.
This was amazing. Everyone go buy the book. We'll put it in the show notes. We'll link all the things. And you've got some fun bonuses with the book too.
Yeah.
We'll have everyone go follow you, all of that. But again, this was such a gift.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I feel so calm.
Me too. I feel calm and my mind is opened in a new direction.
Love it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.